So I was reading through a couple of the entries for my short story competition. There's only 2 prompts out so far. The first one is doodle sack. The second one is cockwomble. Anyway, while I was going through it, I stumbled upon something that might be approaching genius. So what I did was take a few select entries and then rub them together until magic happened. I think the following tale is called Everybody Hates Gerry. So Gerry was sitting there, just wondering how last night went so wrong. Rough crowd, they actually booed us, said Gerry. Can I please everyone, I guess, said Barbara. She was actually deaf, so she signed. Who boos a Strauss waltz performed by professional musicians? Said Gerry, still dumbfounded. You performed a Strauss waltz? Yep. Do you think maybe a doodle sack and sackbutt duo only works as a joke? Anyway, he went back to his practice, but both of them had forgotten their new roommate downstairs. There was a pounding in her head that made her think of one thing from her childhood. The pain was only comparable to the ache brought on by an early morning doodle sack. Gerry blasted his doodle sack as Addie looked at her clock, 6 a.m. When she agreed to share the house, she'd no idea it would be with an insufferable cockwomble. She smashed her earplugs in and drifted off to dreams of shoving those damn bagpipes down his throat. Across the road and down the way, Donnie and Sean heard the racket start up again as well. Sean, were you going to invite Gerry to the party tonight? There's no way I'm inviting that cockwomble to the party. He'll ruin everything. Good, I'm actually glad you said that. I hope that cockwomble gets blown into a bunch of bite-sized calamari. In another apartment on the same street, Anna wiped beads of sweat from her brow as she poured over her pewter cauldron. The steam rose into her face and she had to be careful not to drip her own bodily fluids into the potion for fear it would vastly alter it. Why are you doing this again? Rory asked, his feet propped on her coffee table as he tossed a bowl into the air. Because I'm tired of hearing that bellend across the street attempt to play cool in the gang on his doodle sack. If this worked, Anna knew she could slip the potion into the man's coffee, especially considering he spent more time in that coffee shop downstairs than he did doing literally anything else. Once he drank it, he would be a little dazed and have absolutely no interest in the music. It might even irritate him. As though on cue, the annoying sounds of the bagpipes pierced the air, causing Anna to jolt, spilling half the potion on her altar. It was rough being a witch in New York City. Later that day, Gerry moved his practicing to the edge of the cliff. Gerry stood proudly on the edge of the cliff, eyes taking in the mist over the river and the footpath below, fingers moving nimbly over his doodle sack. The noise was cut off abruptly, followed by a screaming and a splat. Sean looked down over the cliff, satisfied. I hate bagpipes, and I hate you, Gerry. Little did Sean know that on the footpath below, Donnie was walking. Donnie was the source of the splat, when Gerry fell on him. And Donnie looks up at Gerry. I'm dying, mate. This is my end. I won't forget you, Donnie. No one will. I will compose you a song on my doodle sack. Dear Lord, no. I'll name it Donnie's Doodle Sack Dirge. Please, I beg you. Shh. Rest now. Oh, Donnie. For fuck's sake, Gerry, just let me die.